Welcome to today's code seminar. So we have a few odd jobs that I thought we could work through. Maybe we can get one or two of them done. The list I'm looking at in code was a few suggestions that have come up. Partly this is motivated by the fact that there are just a lot of these odd jobs accumulating. And so maybe it's not a waste of time to spend an hour a week just kind of potting away at them. So the first one here is to make VR players not collide with anyone. We discussed this, I think, last week, how to use collision groups to do that. So I'll try and do that first of all. I think that probably makes sense as just a top-level script on its own rather than integrated in anything existing. What do you say?
Yeah, I don't know. I have whatever's the simplest way to plug it in at the moment.
Because we don't really have a dedicated VR thing, right? It's sort of there's VR components in various things, but I don't think it would make sense to, e.g., put this in the orb system or something.
No, I think it can just be a standalone script that, it'll have to, do something with the Nexus VR character model, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So we might have to dig into that a bit for that.
Well, I mean, if it's done on the server, then can't we just put all the, yeah, okay, let's try. The second, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that, so for the Nexus VR character model, there's each of the clients, I believe, animates all the other VR clients,
I see.
like client side, and the server is just I guess I guess it's the exact same object. So maybe if you make it, if you change the properties of the thing on the server, that'll actually replicate. Because it might actually be
the
the
parts
same
get replicated, but their positions are controlled on the client. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how a lot of animation of things is done. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so I think we may just be able to set it on the server and then it works. Okay, so we'll try that first. The second thing was to add an up to root in the metaportal menu. So it's quite convenient to get around between pockets, and we've used that a few times in seminars and stuff, where you just teleport to a different pocket, you leave behind a ghost, people can follow you. Actually, that makes me start to feel like the Rising Sea, the top level place, is actually kind of harder to get to because you can't teleport directly there. You have to quit and rejoin. That means you don't actually leave behind a ghost for people to follow you. So it actually starts to feel to me like a bit not integrated, which this will help with. And yeah, this third thing is a recent pockets list to the go to portal menu. So if you join in VR, actually it's interesting with the new version of that's not the Nexus, I think. So just the upgraded Roblox VR implementation, you actually now can access menus that are on the sort of screen GUI. And that's great because you can attach to detach to orbs that way if you want. I mean, we already implemented proximity prompts for that, which I think is superior to trying to poke at some tiny kind of fake GUI. But it's not clear how we would do the metaportal system, right? And until we implement some native VR solution to that, poking at the menu is better than nothing. So in the go to portal menu, you have to actually type the name of the pocket. That's a bit irritating even for people who aren't in VR, but makes it impossible to use in VR. So that would be a kind of no-brainer to add a recent pockets list. Okay, so let's get started.
I'm assuming you're about to share your screen.
Yeah, I was also just thinking about. Yeah, I didn't think at all about the fact I'm about to do VR stuff, so I'm actually not at the computer that has VR, so I'll have to think about
Right.
what to do there. I mean, I guess we can test. Not to put you on the spot, but is your VR headset handy?
Yeah, I can try to do it.
Okay, so we could test me in on the desktop whether I intersect with collide with you.
I just need one moment.
Sure, I'll just be reading this anyway.
Okay, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, while I was gone, I was actually just thinking. You don't need VR at all to test this, because, like, I don't know, you could just, like, we're just taking the characters, whether they're VR or not, and, like...
Yeah, apart from the issue you raised at the beginning of this conversation, that the Nexus VR character model is doing something or other. I'm presuming that isn't an issue, I agree, yes.
Right, okay, I guess we would want to, like, test this, make sure it works.
But we can test
Okay,
it first.
anyway.
Test it first without that, sure. Okay, so
Yeah, okay.
So this is
So do you want me to do the code, or you?
I'm sharing my screen, I might as well do it. Okay, so this is, I'm looking at the collision groups documentation. So the way this works is we're going to create a collision group, set all the descendants of the player's character model to be in that collision group, and then you can set whether or not two collision groups collide with one another. So for example, to make players not collide with other players, you put all their base parts into a character's collision group and make the collisions between those two false. Okay. So in our case, we want there to be two kinds of players, right? Normal players and VR players. Normal players should collide with each other. VR players should not collide with each other or with normal players, right? So
what's wrong with like, what if it was what's wrong with VR players colliding with normal players?
Well, then normal players can bump you while you're at the board.
Yeah, so I thought, like, is it possible that, like, the unintentional bumping, does that... I'm just trying to recall the conversation we had about this. Was it?
Yeah, I guess primarily we were worried about VR players colliding because that means it's very difficult to work at a board together. That's true. Whereas that's not a concern for normal players and VR players. Yeah, maybe you're right. Part of that conversation was us discussing how Russell likes to push me while I'm at a board.
Yeah.
But that's like not necessarily the sufficient basis for introducing the feature. Yeah, I think it's probably not presently an issue, and it's probably better to leave collisions on than off, just because the it leads to people doing interesting things perhaps that we won't think about. So yeah, I agree with that.
Cool. Oh yeah, I've noticed that in the Rising Sea, the script like drafting and stuff is like a lot more of a pain than any of the newer places I've used with
Yeah,
Team Create.
right.
I don't know if there's some like setting we need to.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree there.
Actually, if you hit the collaborate button, I think there's like a setting for something like enable collaborative scripting or something.
Oh, there's no options in here.
No, maybe in the Team Create window under View.
Which one is that?
Bottom right, there's little dots in the Team Create window.
It's just disable. It must be under settings.
Probably other. Yeah, so collaborative editing is on. So I think it's supposed to be on. Alright, never mind. We'll figure it out later.
Oh, we have this annoying problem of having to figure out who's a VR player because you can't tell on the server.
Yeah, so I figured out a way you can. If you go, do you have the Nexus VR character model script handy?
Yeah.
And then inside that is the main module there. Yeah, so go inside that. Keep opening it up. Open that up again. I think it's we're looking for character service. Go inside character. Actually, let me just find my code that I used for it.
Sure.
That's the first bit of code you need. And then there's the next bit.
Okay.
So yeah, use that wherever you need it.
Okay.
So you want to do that in on player added, right?
Yeah, I guess I want to connect this with an argument.
So do we have to put the normal characters in a collision group, or can we just make one collision group for VR characters?
Oh yeah, I was actually implementing not the thing we said, wasn't I? Yeah, that's right.
Because by default, everything collides with everything else, right?
Yeah, that's right.
If it has can collide on.
Yeah. If I do this, it's going to pass isVR as the first argument, I assume, is it? Oh, no, the last argument. I don't know. Is this even reasonable?
No, that doesn't
Do
make
anything.
sense.
Yeah, sure.
But shouldn't you be doing if isVR then connect that character added function?
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I would forget the character added function. Just say character equals player dot character or character added (wait).
Sorry.
So just get the character in this function
Oh, I see.
by doing character equals player dot character or and or player dot character added. Wait, yeah. Cool. So now you've got the character. Now just
Yeah.
do whatever to the character here.
Yeah. Okay. Guess that should work in principle. Now we want to test it by doing that.
Yeah, I guess that'd work. Should I do like a team create thing?
Oh, let's just test it in the live thing. Team creates so slow. It's quite often now I go into TRS and there's someone watching the replay. Kind of interesting.
Oh, that reminds me. A while ago, I joined. There was like some Roblox concert happening, and I joined it. And I kept, like, for a second, I thought you were there and Ethan was there because your characters were there. But then I realized that they were just like cloning my friends list
What?
into like NPCs.
That's so inappropriate.
Yeah.
We say,
cool.
we say as the proprietors of replays, but okay, that seems to work fine.
Cool.
Here are some metaboards. I'm going to write on them in a minute. One of the tools we use.
I was wondering why I could
for
hear it
attending
twice. That you
lectures.
shouldn't have headphones on. That makes sense. Okay. Well, I guess we can just declare victory and move on. That's probably the easy thing to do.
Yeah, I could test it if you want, but my guess is that it works.
Yeah, okay, let's not be lazy. Let's test it. I'll just go turn on the other machine and then come back here and wait for it, and then we can test it in 10 minutes or so.
All right, I could just test it if you want to move on to the next thing, and then
Yeah.
if it's not working, we'll go back to it.
Yeah, okay. Let me just turn on the other machine. I'll be back. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. So that's an up to the root in metaportal. Git feature. Okay.
I just realized that I can't really test it on my own.
Yeah, right.
That's,
no, that's fun.
if you leave your character, and I could make sure that we still collide.
Yeah. Okay, we could test that too. Yeah, let's get going on this before we.
All right, we'll come back to it.
Okay, so in metaportal, I guess the root place ID, the place ID is in the config, which all the pockets have. So it's a question of adding a thing that will initiate a teleport to there. So let's look in the client for where the buttons get made. It's here. Okay, so what are you? You are go to pocket, unlink portal, back to pocket, URL for pocket. I don't know, let's just put it at the end. It's kind of weird to write this. Okay, so if common. Yeah, this looked unfamiliar. I guess you added this. What to call it? Up to top level, maybe. Root seems like a pretty computer sciencey word.
This will always go to the rising sea.
Yeah, I guess we could just say to the rising sea.
Yeah, I think that would be sensible.
Yeah. Maybe go to. Ah, I didn't know about that. That is good.
What's that?
The join, rather than making it as a kind of long list, you've used join there.
I don't remember doing that.
Or maybe I did it and just forgot, and now I'm praising myself. that's okay too. Okay. I don't know. This whole thing here isn't so carefully done. This is just going to send a remote event, I guess, right?
Wait, you can't reuse a remote event?
Well, I could use go to. Yeah, maybe that's a better idea. Oh, well, maybe that's not actually. I could just fire this with to the root or something, I guess.
But what's the on server event for go to event?
Yeah, it's going to process that and extract the. So let's go to pocket handler. with the pocket text, so it can just process the rising sea as the pocket text, I guess. That would be pretty reasonable. Kind of want to have the ghost be left behind. That's the only... Okay, how are normal teleports handled in here? What I miss from like the old Visual Studio is like a list of functions that I can jump to. Is there a way of just turning that on in Visual Studio Code? Like I want a drop-down list up here that just has like all these functions in it.
Forgot I was muted, but it's there for me. I don't know why you don't have it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting a call. I'll be back. I'm back now.
Yeah, this really needs rewriting. Okay, I'm gonna factor out some of this. Okay, this is doing teleport GUI stuff, which is contributing to teleport data. This is setting teleport data. At this point, yeah, just thinking what to abstract out. problem is here, Fire Portal takes in a portal and then looks up some values in it and then does a lot of stuff that's independent of doing any of that. So I kind of just want to take almost all of this and put it into teleport. So what do I look up from the portal? The place ID. Return portal. Yeah, okay. So I need that. Nightmare.
What are you trying to figure out right now?
Yeah, I want to initiate a teleport. There's kind of two kinds of teleport in here at the moment. One is like go to pocket, and the other is kind of initiating a teleport based on a portal. So it looks up a bunch of stuff from the portal, configures the teleport data, and then initiates this kind of thing at the end. Now, basically, it's just this. I'm pretty happy to just copy and paste it, but there's like this workaround and like maybe this part that I'd just be repeating, but maybe that's okay. I think it's, given the time, not worth worrying too much about.
Yeah, I would just do that.
Yeah.
What do you destroy the character for?
Yeah, I guess now that the loading screen comes up, it doesn't matter too much, but otherwise...
Is it for like other players to see you disappear instantly? Or
yeah, and the ghost appears then, right? So the effect I want is that you disappear and the ghost appears, which they can use to follow you. And between when you initiate the teleport and you actually disappear, there may be 30 seconds or so, in which case your character just kind of hangs around, and that would delay them being able to follow you.
what was the bug in the launch data?
Trauma. That's just a bug in the way they did the thing where it persists. So the documentation says that, well, okay, I think we had some discussion about that. Maybe I misread it, but it seems reasonable to assume, given what they say, that the launch data that you feed into, let's say by the URL, is passed to Roblox the first time you enter, and then subsequent teleports to other places don't continue to carry the launch data. But fact it is passed along, so we have to
Right.
sort of manually deal with that. Okay, place ID is config dot.
Also, what's this toad thing you keep putting down?
Oh, it's just my way of going back to a position by searching for this word.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, toad is my secret word. Don't steal it.
Oh, that was something else. But it's a good way to be like, I'm often editing multiple. If I'm like refactoring something, I know like I need to change something here and here and here.
Yeah, I use it
But
to
I
indicate things I'm
can't-
not finished with as well, right? For that reason. Like otherwise, then I can just search for toad and know I didn't leave some code kind of half finished.
Mhm.
Because maintaining that stack in my head is kind of a lot of overhead. Okay, I think that should work. All right. So let's try. Yeah, by the way, I've been using the package updater a bit. Works great.
Awesome. You had no dramas getting the cookie
No, it's
set
all
up?
fine. I have to look up how to do it every time, but that's... Yeah.
Shouldn't your terminal remember?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. But it's...
Start typing remodel.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I can't just tab complete. You mean... I should check this first.
Hey, let me just make sure. Yeah, I've got everything closed.
Oh, wait. I don't need to uncomment this, do I?
Um,
I just
yeah,
change
it's
this.
not the leave the package destination always
Yeah.
fully filled out.
I guess we could have just tested it in one of them before I rolled it out to all of them. But I just broke the portal system. Yeah, it'll be cool one day when there's like hundreds of people wandering around taking classes simultaneously, but it'll mean that this kind of thing is just...
It really
Okay, what have we done? Okay, let's try Moonlight Forest and see if it works. Then let's try the VR thing and then finish.
Mm-hmm. I'll get my headset ready.
Did you change something about the startup process? Because this loading screen fading out used to be kind of janky and now it's perfectly smooth. So
I didn't do anything.
okay.
I gotta fix the spawn location so you end up in the.
Yeah, the tent needs to be a bit bigger. Oh, I forgot to add the ghost. Seems to work fine. Okay, let me just do that. Nah, screw that. The current ghost adding thing sort of takes in a pocket and makes a proximity prompt that'll teleport you to that pocket, and I'd have to abstract that to make it work with making a teleport back to the Rising Sea. So we'll just declare victory with the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just gonna take my machine out to where my headset is, and we'll try. Do you want to share your screen, Billy? Because currently the recording won't be able to see anything interesting.
Okay.
If that's possible. Okay. Well, on my way.